all of us know, cloud can fundamentally enhance industry competitiveness, accelerate innovation, and create entrepreneurship avenues in India. So cloud adoption will be mission critical for us in India to realize Digital India mission of emerging as a US $1 trillion economy. Human capital transformation is critical to achieving this, and I would now like to welcome Harjyot Soni, Head of Enterprise Support at AWS, and he will talk to us about upskilling for better cloud operations. Welcome, Harjyot.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I think that panel was awesome, right? I learned a lot, and I didn't want it to end, for sure, but I think it was really nice of all of you. My name is Harjot, and after listening to all the presentations that were happening before this, I was just thinking, my slides are going to talk about what support is, going to talk about why it is important to upskill, but I don't think you guys need to be convinced about it. You're already convinced about it, right? And I also love that Bhavdesh knew what a TAM is, and I lead the TAM organization. So my name is Harjot Soni. I head the support teams for AWS in India. Let me quickly move forward in the interest of time. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes talking about what are the needs of people when they come to support, right? So there are basically different needs, primarily focusing on three things. The first is that people come to support for technical guidance, where on one spectrum they have a very simple query. On the other spectrum, they have a need of proactive consulting or architecture discussion. The complexity changes. In cloud, there is a lot of questions that are asked on billing and account support. So it could be a very simple thing like, what does that line mean on the bill, to as complex as, how do I optimize cost? And on the support side, when it is a reactive support, there are customers who have got no SLA worries. I'm just experimenting on the cloud, so there is no SLA worries. I'm running an IPL and I'm on the 22nd stream and it is broken down. Somebody needs to fix it quickly. Somebody jumps into it, right? So that's the persona of different customers in cloud. So to fulfill this need, AWS offers different types of support. It is starts from something called as business support, which is more reactive in nature, and it goes all the way up to what is called as enterprise support, which is more proactive support. It has a reactive element, obviously, wherein we will help you in terms of when you're in breakdown to go and solve something. But we typically try and make sure that we are teaching you how to avoid those kind of problems in the future, right? So that's enterprise support for you. It's more proactive support. In enterprise support, the way we operate is that we give you a dedicated person called as a technical account manager, the TAM that Bhavdesh spoke about, and that person is actually the face of support sitting in the organization. Companies like AWS have got more than 200 plus services, right? How do you reach out to different things? It's tough to navigate across, and so you get one person who manages all of these support interactions for you. This is more proactive in nature, and it gives an enhanced technical support. So those are only three key things to take away from. So that's the enterprise support for you. I built this slide, but I don't think you need this. This slide is again a set of analysis that was done. We did a survey of 1,500 C-suite executives. 98% of them believe that yes, cloud is something that is important for us in the journey going forward. But half of them said that executing the cloud is not easy, right? And why it is not easy is primarily because there is a wide skill gap, right? 40% of them said that lack of in-house expertise exists. This leads to project delays to the tune of almost 38% of the projects are running delayed. It has a runaway impact on the cost. The costs are increasing continuously primarily. So these slides were basically to convince you, but I think you're already convinced that skill gap is a problem on the cloud. I'm going to give you a perspective of what I am seeing from the support perspective. When sitting in support, what I am seeing, and this is something that is worrying me. Typically, when you reach out to support, you would reach out to support for a breakdown. I mean, that's my assumption, right? If you have a problem, we're reaching out to support. At Amazon AWS, we manage close to 1.3, 1.4 million cases in a year. And to our surprise, 55 to 60% of the cases that are opened by people is actually, they're asking a question. They're asking a question, and very, very fundamental questions, right? They're saying, hey, how do I do A, B, C, and D? Which means that there is a definite amount of skill gap, and this number is not changing. I mean, past 4 years, this number is holding steady, which means that we are not adequately skilling people to fulfill the need of skilled resources on the cloud, right? This upper chart basically talks about the types of severities that you can use. The topmost is when you have a business critical system down, so we'll respond back in 15 minutes to a general guidance, which is, you're asking a question, we'll respond back to you with a response on the question asked, which takes us 24 hours. When you ask a question to support, right, this is the timeline of how it is executed. So if it's a general guidance, so I'm asking you a question. My SLA is 24 hours, like I showed you in the previous slide, but there is a back and forth. Right? You'll ask a question, I will respond back with something, then you have further questions on that. And so typically it takes between 3 to 5 days to get a response to a question. If you had skilled yourself, you would not have needed to ask. This again got us thinking that, hey, what is wrong? I mean, is it that are people asking really complex questions? Is it like, I know everything, but there's a level 400 deep question which I don't know answer to, then I need support's help. But to our surprise, almost 35% of that 55% is actually people asking questions which are very, very fundamental in nature. For example, customers running EC2 Linux on Windows, right? They're asking a question like, how do I log into an EC2 instance without the SSH key pair? This is like, if you are running a server on the cloud, you better know how to log into it, right? So you should not be coming, sorry. I think I ran through all my slides. Let me try go back. That's the database, right? The customer are asking, there are timeout errors happening. The endpoint, the DNS endpoints are not reachable. There is access denied error which I'm using on the S3. These are, if you have level 100 skill set on the cloud, these are the things that you will probably not need to ask, right? And these are the questions which are 35% of my support cases, which I'm seeing, which clearly indicates that there is a big skill gap and we need to do a better job of this. So, there are various avenues for you to go and consume the learning process. Amit spoke about it already. There are things that we do at enterprise support to upskill our customers. Immersion day is something that Bhavdesh already spoke about, but we do things like game days, graduation days, SME sessions, workshops, right? Because we know exactly from a case perspective that which organization has what skill gaps. So, if, for example, you're trying to adopt containers, I would know exactly if you start asking too many fundamental questions on containers, that means it's time for me and go back and teach you something about containers so that you stop asking those questions. And that's exactly what we are able to provide as part of enterprise support. But these are very ad hoc mechanisms, right? The most structured way is actually to go through training and certification. So we have things like digital training, classroom training, we have AWS Jam and hands-on labs and certifications, so all of that already exists, right? And my request is please do consume this as much as possible because I want to see you utilizing cloud more effectively. Another thing that we are also seeing is that there are a lot of people that you hire, like somebody was asking, there's no structured mechanism of teaching them when they're hired, right? I mean, what should they do in the first 6 weeks or 8 weeks after being hired? Say you hire a database engineer, what should be their journey on the cloud for the first 6 weeks or the first 8 weeks? So what we have done is that in partnership with the training and certification, we have created something called as a customer embark plan. So when you onboard somebody, you can actually use a digital skill builder. There's a tool called Skill Builder, which allows you to create a digital journey across, right? So you know exactly week 1, these are the things that you should do. Week 2, you should do this. There are checkpoints that you can complete in terms of the learning. Then that at the end leads to some degree of certification process. So this is one thing that we have built to help you out in that journey. And the way this looks like is, for example, it will start with something like introduction to, for example, Amazon CloudWatch, and then how do you use CloudWatch logs. And so we have curated contents and we have created journeys which are specific to the persona of people you're hiring. And that would, my hope would be that it will help accelerate learning of your teams. That's it from myself. I just want to keep it short so that I'm not between you and the drinks, but any questions? So Okay, so this was what I saw, but just to answer that particular question, no, you don't need to take enterprise support to take benefit of this. There are independent programs that are there. We have, I'm just showcasing to you that what we have built together with the training and certification, which you can also consume directly through them. And these are like free learning paths that you will consume. These are all digital trainings that you can use for a person of people you are hiring.